Sis, can I ask you something? Who do you think you are when there's no one to impress? No Instagram, no friends around, no family watching. Like, there's no expectations to perform or be depended on, and you're just you. Because lately, like, I've been wondering, like, who are we living our lives for? Because sometimes I feel like, if I'm being honest, I've gotten really comfortable to making other people feel comfortable. And I'm trying to figure out how to move from that and why we do this. So, Between Us, Sis, let's talk about it. Welcome back to Between Us, Sis, a space where Black women can have honest conversations about healing, our lives, our identities, and everything in between. I'm so grateful for you being here. I'm starting to think that we all wear different versions of ourselves. The version that we are when we're around family, the version we are when we are with the friends, our co-workers, the version of us that we post online. And then there's a version that we have the luxury of seeing. And that's a version that we are when we are completely alone. The question is, do those versions actually look alike? Or are we being able to adapting to being someone we're not and being someone who we don't really like anymore? Or maybe we never really liked in the first place. Because somewhere along the way, we had to learn that fitting in was a lot safer than standing out. And what it does to our younger selves, what it does to our present self, or even our future selves. Because the scary thing is, I've been able to lose myself without even realizing I've lost myself. Like, it happens overnight. It is something just as simple as laughing at jokes that aren't funny, or saying yes to things that you don't really care for, or that doesn't align with you, or you just want to say no to, honestly. You sometimes may stop wearing the things that make you feel like yourself, or you stop sharing your opinions and having honest conversations and being able to disagree with people when it should never have been like that in the first place. You're slowly becoming whatever the room needs, whatever your friends need, or whatever your family needs. And then it's like just poof. One day you're sitting with yourself and you're thinking, I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know what I like eating, what I enjoy doing. All of these questions are appearing in your head, and maybe that's where you are today. And if that is, it is okay to start over. It is okay to explore, to try to understand yourself in whatever capacity that you seem fit. We've become so accustomed to following a rule book of fitting in and being people pleasers, especially as Black women. We have to constantly restart and do all these things over and over again because the opinions of our bodies, our voices, our way of living is constantly deconstructed over and over and over again, and we get tired. And along the way, we start to realize that healing is not just about becoming someone new. It is about remembering that you can have love and have respect without having to work 10 times hard as anyone else to have it. It's the aspect of understanding you don't have to shrink yourself. You don't have to apologize for taking up space. You're able to come home to yourself and, look yourself in the mirror and understand that the person you're looking at is worthy of so much more. And in the aspect of coming home, and specifically coming home to yourself, can look as simple as reading that book you've been putting off, or wearing your natural hair the way it is, resting, allowing yourself to just breathe. I feel like we've trained ourselves to always be on the go, and at some point that train ride becomes long. It's an endless ongoing loop of, okay, cool, I put my mask on today, and when you're by yourself, you're like, okay, I can take the mask off. Surely I can take it off, right? It's safe for me to do so. I'm by myself. Girl, take the mask off. And sometimes, specifically even for myself, I feel like that mask is glued on. I feel like it's become my new face. It has become my being, my essence, my presence. Because I've had to perform for so long, that's what people see now. And starting over, it doesn't feel worth it sometimes. And the aspect of starting over is intimidating, because you realize that, not even just you realize, you understand that sometimes you have to go through this alone to be able to have a better understanding of yourself and a longing for what that looks like. You have to go through seasons alone. And as someone who is in that space right now and kind of can see the tunnel outside of it, I'm still afraid. I'm understanding little by little, with every honest choice I make, I'm getting that one step closer to finding what that looks like for myself. But anyways, okay, sis, let's be real. There are seasons where we don't recognize ourselves. Not because of the pretending aspect of ourselves, but because we've built this survival mechanism that we have. But surviving and living, sis, are not the same thing. And I'm understanding that now. I was so comfortable with the idea of I'm just getting by. It's whatever. I'm just kind of here, And I took that as, Nina's resting. Nina is in her own space. But on the other side, it was, Nina isn't really doing anything. And having a balance of not having to do everything, but also having to do something, whether that be in my personal life or my career or with my friends or whatever the case may be, because of how annoying society is, we do have these, I guess, time frames society puts on us of being married at a certain age, having these achievements, doing this at a certain age, or whatever the case may be, they're there, and they are annoying. And so it gets to the point where things kind of get muddy between living and surviving. And I'm learning that I don't have to keep performing to fit into the roles I'd given myself. I can literally just exist and just breathe and just do whatever makes me happy. I was that child who needed to do anything and everything to earn people's love and respect and this and that the other. I would always put my hand up for everything. I would always be the one to go DM someone to check if they're okay or whatever it is. Literally, if something was going on, Nina was there. And I don't have to do that anymore. And neither do you. And so it's one of those things of like, I'd really love us to spend a little bit of time during our week to just sit with ourselves for however long you have time during your week, your day, your month even. It literally does not have to be now, where there's no doom scrolling, no TV, no music, just you. And as someone who is slowly learning to enjoy the silence and enjoy being by myself, I have to allow the comfortability to kind of settle in. It's taken a while because, like I said, I was the person that was like, I want to be outside. I put my hand up for this volunteering thing or whatever the case may be. Like, it was very much so like sitting alone with my thoughts was not a good space. I hated sitting alone with my own thoughts because I was not happy with myself. And I thought I was. Like I said, I built this mask up for God knows how long, where I would perform and act like everything was fine, but I was what felt like drowning. I literally felt like I was suffocating myself, and there was no one else that would be able to get myself out of it but me, and even the aspect of like telling people like, hey, I'm tired, like mentally, help was like my biggest fear. Asking for help as a people pleaser that I was, and as hyper independent girly, I've got this on all of my own girly, or whatever, however you want to word it. That ish is tiring and scary. I would rather jump into a pool of snakes than ask for help. Like, I was just a very insecure child, and it stems from obviously people's opinions, people's thoughts, think pieces, whatever. And I'm grateful for who I was when I was younger, because it led me to where I am today. But damn, was that a challenge. Like, oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many times I was like, I'm so sad, like I just want to leave. Girl, you wanted the issues to stop, you didn't want to leave. And I'm sure that some of us, as scary as it is, have felt like that before, and maybe are feeling like that now. And so I just wanted to sit up with ourselves whenever we can and ask us these questions. Who are you becoming? What are some things that you're pretending to enjoy? what would you choose? Because if it was me, if I stopped worrying about people's opinions, people's choices, I would have done a bucket load of things. I would have dressed the way I wanted to when I was younger. I would have tried new foods, tried new places, gone to different events, just a bunch of different things. The older I get, I realize I love being around people. Like, and it isn't necessarily something I'm rediscovering. I've always known that I've loved being around people. Like, I was definitely that child who was like, hi stranger, hi, look at me, talk to me, yes, I can yappa, ha ha ha, but back then I was doing it for my people pleasing tendencies, because I needed to be chosen. Like, if you told younger me, like I said last week, if you told her, like, yeah, I don't like you, and you gave a reasonable example, I would be so heartbroken. And so with that going on, like, I was around people to kind of camouflage that I was not liking myself. Whether now, where it's a case of, I love hanging out with my friends, I love going on dates and making new friends and experiences, and I really enjoy community, and I don't feel like the heaviness and the dark thoughts as much as I did when I was younger. And so when I come home now, I'm able to, like, sit with myself and go, that was a really good day. I can, like, unpack it and kind of just sit with myself and just breathe. Where younger Nina would come home and sit in her room and be like, oh, okay, cool, today we're sad. Okay, sad thoughts coming in. It's kind of like that clip from Inside Out where, like, they have the emotions controlling it. Yeah, sadness and anxiety, they were hand in hand as a child, and even as a young adult, and a little bit even now. They were just tight like a booty hole type shit, And it got to the point where I had to unclench those hands. I said, guys, you colors don't go together. Let's release yourselves. Release each other, please. Because I didn't want to live the rest of my life feeling anxious, feeling scared, feeling just sad and depressed. Like, I hate feeling like that. And younger Nino literally thought, yeah, well, this is just me. Like, I am forever going to feel these things. I'm gonna live this horrible, sad life because, people told me that they don't like me because I'm in a wheelchair, or they don't like that I'm dark skinned, they don't like that I'm Satanese, queer, whatever. And little Nina believed it. Little Nina was like, I'm gonna live a miserable life. Like, I'm gonna be all by myself. Like, girl, wake up. And like I said, gave myself grace, understand that was a child and things seem a lot bigger. But relax a little bit. Unclench your fist. And so with the answers to those questions, I feel like you surprise yourself. I feel like you'll be shocked about how many things that you want to do and try and explore and test out. Like I said, I know for myself, like, there's so many projects I want to do, so many countries I want to visit, and all of these things that I wanted to do, and I'm slowly doing, right? But we really need to unclench ourselves from people's fists, because it gets so tiring living for other people. Like, in this economy, in this world that we live in this climate, we can't keep doing this. Because we'll look back at it in 10, 15, 20, 30, or even more years' time and go, damn, I wish I tried that out. I wish I tried that food out. I wish I went to that country. I wish I made that project. I wish I did whatever your heart desires. Because, yeah, the idea of looking back at young me and going, why didn't you put that outfit on? Why didn't you go to that event? Why didn't you say this thing? Why didn't you tell this person this? Whatever. I don't want to live like that. I don't. I am working so hard to not regret anything I do and not regret anything I haven't done. You know? And it's just difficult, but we're getting through it. Between us, sis, the world will always tell you who you are, what you should do, what you should wear, how you should be. But there's so much peace in being able to silence the noise and hone in yourself and allowing that inner voice to speak louder than any other voice and decide who you want to be and who you're gonna be. Thank you for spending time with me. If today's conversation spoke to you in any capacity, share it with another sis who might really need that reminder. Until next time, take what you need, leave what you don't. And remember, the version you look for in yourself has always been there all along. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, sis.